Welcome to the Prosperity Podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to drop the hustle and earn more. I'm your host, Danielle Amos, business and success coach, certified Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant, and lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you amazing entrepreneurs who have built wealth, harnessing the power of their mind. Prosperity and money are truly about energy, and I'm on a mission to help you create financial abundance through the power of thought. It's time we started normalizing conversations about money and create the wealth that is yours. Are you ready? Let's do this. Welcome to episode 134 of the Prosperity Practice. This is Danielle Amos, and I am your host. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Kelly Hetherington. Kelly is a coach herself. She was a financial advisor. She loves money. She's a mom. She's also a past client of mine. Well, a current client, actually. She has been in our community for many years. She started as a private client of mine and has moved on to join us at retreats and has been in the community for a few years. She's also now a Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant along with me. You're going to love this conversation about money because we talk a lot about the programming that one receives just by growing up in the world. What do most people think and feel about money and the importance of, saving it for a rainy day? Kelly had to release a lot of these ideas in order to become a successful coach and to help others understand the truth about money. And what happened since has been fascinating. Her daughter is now studying the program that Kelly and I coach and is on her way in her early 20s to creating her first $1 million year. Because of this work, because of her beliefs around success, money, and who she is. So listen up. This conversation is huge. You're going to love it. Thank you for listening. And if it resonates, share and reach out to Kelly and I. Enjoy. I am so grateful to be here with you today with a very special guest. Her name is Kelly Hetherington. And Kelly is a member of our community. So she's a member of the Success Society. She's been with us for a while, actually. You were private coaching with me. And she went to a retreat. She came to Mexico with us. And she's now in what we call the Empress Extension. So she's been around for a while. And when Kelly first came to our community, she was a financial advisor. And I say was because she's retired from that career. Some might say like at the top of her career, doing really, really well. I probably imagine that a lot of people think you were crazy, leaving a lucrative, extremely successful career to jump into coaching. Kelly has since become a Proctor Gallagher Institute coach, a certified consultant. Congratulations. So she does what I do. And I invited Kelly on because I'd love for you to hear a conversation with an expert on money who has had to release and heal quite a few beliefs about money that were holding her back and that would definitely have held her back in her coaching career in order to now be thriving as a coach. And if you can imagine, I always said this to Kelly, I'm like, oh my gosh, your clients get such an incredible, so much value when they hire you as a coach because Kelly knows about money. She understands money and she understood on a very the way that society understood money. And because she had the background of that, it's just been able to quantum leap her understanding and awareness of where she is now. And then she's bringing in thinking to results and what it means to be a Proctor Gallagher Institute coach to the table. Your clients are so blessed. And I'm so grateful to have you here today with us.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years. 3 years in July.
Wow. To me, it feels long, but not really. It feels like it goes like that.
Yeah.
So much change.
Oh,
in 3 years.
Immense change.
Want to talk about that? Like tell everyone where you were when you came to us and where you are now. A little bit about your story.
So as you said, so I was a financial planner, certified financial planner, 20 years in finance in various capacities. I was in the insurance side of the business, the banking side of the business, and then the last decade as a financial planner. And oh my goodness. So started thinking into results with you July 2020, kind of height of pandemic. And it was, I think at that point, I truly joined. Yes, I had tons of success in my business. I always wanted more, right? I think as humans, that's just our nature, but it was more looking for a positive outlet. And I had completely lost all the passion for my career. I'm not even 100% sure it was ever truly even there. I think it was something I tried to convince myself of for 2 decades. My dad was a financial planner. I did the exact same role in the exact same company that he retired from. So, it started because I graduated university. I needed a job. And that's how it happened. And I just, I bounced around a little bit, and like I said, in insurance and different parts of the industry, but always sort of stayed there because it was what I knew. I see now 100% that it really was so many of my limiting beliefs about myself that kept me there. I made good money, so the money kept me there. People used to, number one, yes, they did say I was crazy when I left that role, to just completely bet on myself and start from scratch. And people used to say to me, I'm in a very small town. And so they'd say, well, like, how many people in this town make the kind of money that you make? So it
was kind of like, be grateful, like
right.
Be grateful for what you have.
Sure.
Don't rock the boat.
Yes.
Why do you need more? Most people in this town don't have as much as you already.
Yep, absolutely. 100%. And, and I look at, number one, how I grew up with a financial planner as a father, my 20 years in that career, and society's money beliefs. Oh my goodness. You talk about programming to be conservative, to never be irresponsible with money. I just got a little shiver when I said that.
And I'm laughing because I remember a conversation that we had, well, several.
Yeah.
And you would say that, you're like, ooh, that's really irresponsible. Like, it was almost like, I'm sure, I don't know if this was really happening, but this was my perception of our relationship in the beginning. It was like, I'd say something, she'd be like, ooh, that's really bad. Like, that's really risky what she's telling people to do.
Oh, I'd be sitting there saying, if I said this at work right now, like,
I'd be fired.
So it took me that is the one spot that, we know in this work, it doesn't have to take a long time, but that is the thing for me that took the longest time, because it was only until recently that it really started to, I really did try and be open-minded and coachable, but man, the blocks that were there for me.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the truth though, Kelly. Let's notice why and recognize, because I think this will help a lot of people who also would see themselves as coachable and but their current belief system is so far the other way from what I'm saying that it just seems like this is like 180% opposite, like 360 degrees kind of idea, like total opposite of what I believe right now. And so of course it would take time. And if you think about it, so the society has programmed everybody about money to be in lack, to save it for a rainy day, that it's finite, one of the biggest lies. And so compounded with society, then you have a dad who's a financial planner who is most likely risk adverse, I would say, because his job is to make his money for clients, right? In a way that's guaranteed, because then he'd be good at his job. So you have him as a dad, then you've got society, and then you go into the same career and spend 20 years there almost cementing, like if we can use the word cement.
That's a great word.
Cement the paradigms in your mind so that they become literally blocks of cement of these beliefs. They were like in there. So in order for you to break free, you were going to need to like break them down, which takes a little bit of work. Like, have you ever tried to break cement? You need a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you've experienced. So it's like, here's the cool thing though about your story is like, I don't know that many people would have done it. Like, I don't know that there are many people, because it takes effort. It takes persistence. It takes a commitment. You've been with us for 3 years now. Yeah. And plus your own studies, plus your own investments in yourself.
Yes, 100%. And I look at when I first joined, and yes, I've done a lot since, but that first investment, I truly looked at it from a business perspective because I really wasn't in a place where I would bet on myself. Business, it was okay to invest, but to actually invest in me, yes.
So you saw it. So as long as this is an expense for my business, I'm worthy of this, of spending the money here.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
Wasn't that interesting?
Dang.
And I'm sure a lot of people look at it like that.
Totally.
So now I certainly don't feel that way. And, it's when I look back at when I was still working as a financial planner, and we would talk about these concepts and talk about the fact that, what we focus on grows. So now I'm trying to figure out how to talk to my clients and not say the D word, debt, right? Or save for a rainy day, emergency fund. Those were all the terms that I would use for 20 years as I was taught. And it was a complete fear mentality, which I now see. I was literally instilling fear in people.
Totally.
Better save for a rainy day.
Yeah. What if?
Mm-hmm. And that's the language that I used for that long of a time, right? With all of my clients. So I had to.
You're not the only one.
That. No, for sure. Oh, I'm sure. Anyone that sat in front of a financial planner, you've heard those words.
Totally. So, and anyone that sat in front of movies, anyone that sat in front of news.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's because for my job, I had to be up to date with the news. And I don't know if to put this out there, but I have not listened to the news since I left that job.
How does that feel?
Yeah, really good. Now people talk about things and I'm like, I have no idea anymore, but because we know that's all fear mongering. So I don't choose to let that go into my subconscious mind any longer.
And do you feel like you're like missing out, will you fall off the edge of the earth because you don't know the news?
Not at all. No, I don't even think about it.
Well,
and most of the things people talk about really don't impact my life, and I have compassion for what goes on in the world for all of that. But when it comes to media, we know we don't. My husband's in media. He'll tell you, like, big media like that you're not getting the truth anyways. So yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole other conversation.
I love how you said my husband will tell you. Yeah. That'd be interesting. Like, let's poll our listeners. Would you like that one too? We can bring Kelly back. Yeah, really good. So you had this programming through your career to talk to people about lack and rainy days and saving and retirement and all the things. In the beginning of that shift for yourself in the career, and I remember that because we had a conversation like, well, how do I even talk to them like this? And I think there were even some, I don't know if the right word's like legal, but I remember you had to be careful because of the license about what you said too. So there was a lot of navigating a very strong paradigm, meaning the paradigm of what it looks like to be a financial planner or, advisor. And to bring in this new awareness of truth into your work so that you could truly be helping your clients. What happened when you shifted that? inside your career? Because it wasn't for a long time, but it was for quite a period of time where you were navigating that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Yeah, I think number one, we know in this work, it is all about the real thinking work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was definitely just kind of doing the surface level thinking, right? And when you would challenge me to, because you weren't telling me the words that I had to go around and say, that's not how this works. So I had to figure that out on my own. And so, a lot of my new beliefs that I've been able to adopt came from that type of work. But I'd also notice a shift in my clients and in our appointments. It was a lot more in ease and flow, a lot more fun, actually. People started to say, like, the manager, his office was beside mine, and he'd come in and he's like, what are you laughing about all day long? And so
you're supposed to be talking money. It's serious.
Exactly. But it became more about, it wasn't about just the numbers anymore. It was truly about people's hopes and dreams and desires, right? They don't want the house. Like, it's not about the mortgage. It's about the memories they'll create in the house. So that's how our conversations really started to shift.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you really took a coaching role even before you were coached. Like, you brought in this work into the office.
And that is something I would do with the staff. At the time, there were a lot of changes happening in the branches, and it wasn't the most positive environment. So we would talk about this and talk about, the language we're using with clients, the conversation, to create some fun and joy in the day. You're there 9 hours a day. Might as well have some fun doing it.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these beliefs now, and the beliefs that you had to switch. So off the top of your head, because I think, like, if you're listening here, I think you're going to resonate with some of the beliefs that Kelly was raised to believe, was programmed to believe through society and her job. And listen now, I invite you to listen with an open mind, because in the beginning, it might, this conversation might trigger some of the beliefs. And I'm not asking you to adopt all of them. You get to decide which ones are for you and which ones aren't. This is what I will share, preference the conversation with, is you get what you believe every single time. A belief is just a thought you have decided to continue to think. And if you believe it's true, it is true for you. So when we're talking about new money beliefs, or this understanding about money that both Kelly and I are going to invite you into, these, the truths that we share are truths as far as like universal law, energetic truths, and we'll bring them into the context of money. Now, your experience with money will reflect your belief about money. So ultimately, you can choose, if you get to choose your beliefs, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, why not choose a belief, or at least try on a belief that will serve you financially, like literally open up the floodgates. So and try them on. We're not here to convince you of anything. We're here to invite you, to just see what comes out of all this. And then you can let us know. If you've got questions, reach out. We'll share Kelly's details too in the show notes, so you can reach out to her as well. So what are some of the key money beliefs that really had to go, that you identified?
Yeah, the biggest one, and this comes from both. This was the one from my dad for sure. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Mm-hmm.
That was always the big one.
So the back behind that one. So back behind. So what does money doesn't grow on trees mean? If we expand that.
Yeah. So it's funny. I think of a memory. I have this so strong in my mind. Every time I would ask him for something, do you think we have a money tree growing in the backyard?
Yeah.
So that was a big one.
You do, right behind you. So if you could see Kelly,
literally I do.
Podcast, she's got a money tree.
And I laugh at that now. I digress a little, but I laugh at that now because when he would say that, like, money was paper at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, it does.
it is a tree, like, essentially, right? Yeah. But so much lack, so much lack and limitation behind that. And that was definitely the biggest one growing up in my household. Yes, we don't take risks with money. We're conservative with our money. And the big one, responsibility. We must
expand on, like, because they're similar, aren't they? The conservative, responsible with money, not taking risks. And we know, like, so little risk, little reward.
Yes.
It's like a little bit of uncomfortableness, little bit reward, because the more uncomfortable you become, the more growth, therefore more reward. So it's like really playing it safe. Yeah. So what did that look like on the day to day in your like life, or the way that you advise clients? Was that like budgets, like don't overspend?
Big time. Yes. Budget was a very big word in the practice. That was one of the first things I'd have a client do.
Yeah.
I don't use that word any longer. Budget is completely out of my vocabulary, but that'd be the first thing I'd do.
I'm curious. Would you teach people to lower their standard of living to match their income?
100%.
So that's so interesting, because that's a complete opposite thing of what we now teach in this material.
Yes.
So isn't this is like pretty crazy in my mind, because so you were programmed to teach people through your career to be successful, to lower their desires, lower their standard of living to match their current income.
Yes.
And I'm just getting this picture of like how much that is pushing someone down to fit into this like little box. Like, you're not going to grow outside this, like there's no possibility in that no wonder so many people in society get the same result over and over and over. How can you when you're constantly lowering what you want, or telling yourself you can't have that because it doesn't fit in a budget? How dare you desire that? It's not within the budget. Oh, we can't do that. Or if I want that, I've got to give something else up, sacrifice. So then the saying the other way is, never lower your standard of living to match your budget or your current income. Instead, raise your income and budget, if you want to do that. Raise your income to match your desires. Why do you think that? Like, I mean, why? Okay, they want people to not earn much, and that way we're like all little robots, in the world. But like, it's an interesting question. Like, outside of that, like, why not just say, well, you could raise your income? Like, let's look for ways to raise your income. Let's create multiple sources of income. Let's, isn't that funny?
Yeah. And even on that, so previously, if you had said that to me, my perception would be, because I also come from a family of, you have to work really hard to make money. Yeah. So my perception of that would have been, that means I need to now work 90 hours a week.
Yeah. 3 jobs, 4 jobs.
Okay. So I would never have entertained a conversation like that. Even if you said like side hustle, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's add another 25 hours to my already 60-hour work week.
Yeah. So the paradigm, like the two things that are strongly linked, is your money comes from doing.
Yes.
So it's tied to trading time for money.
Yes.
Trading, even a service for money is still trading in that way. Yeah. When we look at it in most careers.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for everyone listening, who else is in that boat where when I say like, let's raise your income to match your desires, to match what you desire in life, do you automatically go, oh my gosh, I can't imagine working any harder than what I do? You wouldn't be alone. That's huge. So how have you changed that? Because I know how, but
you know how.
So what does that change to now, or what does that feel like in your body? Because this is the work. So here's the thing for everyone listening. If you have that same belief, you want to ask yourself, like, does it serve me to think this way? Or can I open up to the idea that I know I don't have to trade my time for money, that there are other money making strategies out there, and that perhaps money isn't linked to the amount of time I work. I know it looks like it on paper. I know it says $35 per hour or $100 per hour. Like, I get it. But what if we give up that idea for what you do? You know, some might call you crazy. But like, what if you were able to give that up? What would that feel like? And I'm going to get Kelly to expand, because how it feels like for her is going to give you some insight through her hindsight, how to change this belief, or like the energy behind this belief that's so important.
Yeah, for me. So, and this is exactly what happened to me. So when I was able to shift some of those beliefs through doing the Thinking into Results program and working with you one-on-one as well, Danielle, I worked a lot less. So I was a commission-based financial planner. And so I was responsible for creating my own paycheck, which is fantastic. I think that's the absolute best way. However, so if I look at how I was operating before, being able to shift some of those beliefs through my auto-suggestion, repetition, I worked less and I doubled my income.
Yeah.
Same role.
Yeah.
And if we actually look at the outside circumstances that were happening in my role at that time, that would not have at all seemed possible. You know, I was sent home from work, and I also, because we could no longer go in, branches were separated. I went down from 2 branches to 1 branch. And so my clientele was basically cut in half, and yet I doubled my income.
Yeah, because none of the circumstances are the root cause of your income. The root cause of your income is your mindset, is your mind. And money's just responding to the way that you feel about it. And like, obviously your role. So that's fascinating that you were able to double your income at that time, work less. And I remember you kind of treated it like an experiment. Like, I mean, you're a doer. So I remember you were kind of itchy to get working, but the opposite, you like really were coachable and worked with the mind first to see what would happen. Like, what if Danielle, this crazy idea that Danielle says is actually true? I want to try this on. And I remember you, like, it shocked the hell out of you, really. Like, it really did. Yeah.
I remember you saying, it's just a game. I was like, I can play the game. Like, those words always stick in my head. Yeah. And it reminds me as well to have fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because I can tend to go down that serious path, right? Because that's also the like financial planning, like you have to be serious and wear the business suit and do the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it reminds me to have fun with it as well and create joy.
That's so good. So what are some of the other like rules to this game that you now play around money?
Oh boy. Oh yeah. I think I almost live in a constant state of visualization. So visualizing my goal, who I am as that woman that has everything that she desires, understanding that I can do and have anything that I want, and that the importance of embodying it now, that we get it backwards, right? I'll be happy when I have the money. I'll be happy when I have the vacation home. But really playing with the reverse. And I play it in all aspects. You talk all the time about, you love the parking spots. I love the green lights, you know, and so I'm driving and I'm laughing because I'm like, of course it's all green lights. And if it's not, I'm like, like, I just really am in tune, I guess you could say now, in my awareness. And when I have a thought that's not serving me, and, you know, and when I look at when I was able to double my income, and in that time as well, we bought our home in Italy, which was like a 10-year pipe dream that happened in 6 weeks when I started TIR with you. all of those things. And I truly reflect on the law of compensation and how well we serve people. And I think that I truly believe that plays a big part for me as well, because even though, I could say, yeah, I was good at customer service, but if I'm trying to convince my clients to lower their standard of living, to feel fear and lack, that to me is not service. So I believe when we switch that up and start playing this fun money game, we truly are in harmony with the law of compensation as well, where the other way I wasn't.
Yeah. And you're truly, so the other way probably felt hard because you were working against the laws, forcing, doing everything on the physical action, because that's the way you were taught. You didn't know any better.
Yep.
And that's the way most of us show up in the world, is we take the action first. And then now you, with this new understanding, you got yourself in alignment with the universal laws, and serving people from a place of abundance, like understanding like they can also be, do, and have anything that they want. I love that. That's so good. And it feels like there's like a cause and effect law at play there too, because you're putting more good into the world. Like if the other way, you are literally adding more fear and so into the world. So then the cause and effect law, like it wouldn't come back from the person you're speaking to. And you didn't do it with the intention to harm others. You didn't know any better. So there's another layer there. But at the same time, you're putting fear into the world. So what would come back would be fear.
Yes. And I truly did think I was helping people, right?
Totally.
That was the part of my job I really enjoy. I love working with people, and I'm not so much the number side of it. That was the part of my job I actually didn't love. But I truly did. And I would pride myself on being the conservative financial planner. It's like, okay, your investments are going to grow at 4%. Woo. They'd say, well, what about 6? And I'd say, well, no, like I like to be conservative. Like I did. I took that on as part of my identity. And now I see the massive shift, and it shocks me to think I even said those words, but and I did. It came from a good place. Yeah. Because you don't know what you don't know. Right. But
yeah. And so now what are some of the returns on investments that people can expect now in this material? Like I think that 4% was good, and now the ROI, or the return on investment, when someone invests in themselves. Have you done that math? I mean, like how much you've received?
Yeah, I haven't. That's interesting that I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's massive. And it's, like I said, I started in this with, okay, yes, this is for my business. And it's also how I kind of sold it to my husband. And was because he was a hard no at the start. Right. And thought I was nuts to want to spend that money. But he understands business, he owns his own businesses. So that's how he was comfortable with it. But to me, that is, now when I look at like the money side, which it's awesome, don't get me wrong. But it's such a small part of it. I had no idea the impact, like deep down in my core, like in my soul, and my belief in myself and what I'm capable of, because that was not there at all. Not there at all.
So would you say like that was one of the benefits that you received that you weren't expecting to receive, and how you perceive yourself, the confidence that you have? Yes. Yeah, that's huge.
And that's a massive ROI. We just don't.
Yeah, you don't put
not
money
measurable. You can't calculate it, but to me, it's the return on investment is limitless, and it still continues. Mm-hmm. Things that we did a year ago are now still affecting change in my life and in my beliefs around myself.
How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that? Mm-hmm. Like it's something that you'll continue to reap the rewards on for years to come, and not to mention the ripple effect in your life. So your family, and I've noticed on social media, you going live with your daughter.
Yes.
The effect that it's like had on her and her business. And
so,
yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, Madison's only 24 years old. She started a business It was a year in January, social media marketing. And again, was, we talk about this all the time. She said through understanding some of this, she just took the leap. Everybody was telling, she had just graduated university. Everybody was telling her, no, you need to go work for somebody for 5 years to get the experience, right? All that stuff. Yep. And so we would talk it through, and I'd say, this is what you like, this is what would light her up when we would talk. Like her energy would just shift. So I said, I think it's time you just jump in and see what happens, right? Bet on yourself. And she did. She's achieved major success so she had a big goal, like a big revenue goal for her first year. She thought it was crazy. We added a zero and she did it in 8 months.
What was the goal? Can you share with us?
Yeah. So her first goal was $100,000. She did that in 8 months. And she was like, yeah, I think, well, first it was like, I just want to break even.
Yeah.
We figured out what that number was, and then we added a zero.
Oh,
and April 13th, actually, she's going to receive an award. She won Entrepreneur of the Year for the Chamber of Commerce.
oh my goodness.
24 years old. Yeah. Like the sky is the limit. It's, and she sees that. She does thinking into results.
Amazing.
And she truly embodies her goal achieved.
Wow. So what did she earn in 8 months? 100,000?
Yeah.
At 24.
Yeah.
In her first year of business.
Yeah. Want to know what she's trending at right now?
Yeah.
The year in revenue? $1 million.
Second year of business, 10x.
Yeah. The average age of her employees are 22 years old.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Doesn't seem possible, right? Like that is one of those things where, and she hears it all. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, da, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Luck has nothing to do with it. This is
No.
all by law. And like, what a gift. So if you wouldn't have said yes to this material, she wouldn't have had a mother to introduce this to. Maybe she would find it another way. Who knows? This is honestly collapsing time. It is like people don't believe it's possible for them because they can't see the how. Your daughter, like Madison, didn't know the how. She just had a goal, stepped into it, believed in herself, had you in her ear, reminding her of her truth.
Yes.
And she's studying. That is freaking amazing. And like my response is like, of course, because that is what we promised. Like, 10x, turn your yearly income into your monthly. And that's what she's doing. And she's on track to do that. And that she's been recognized by your community. Incredible.
Yes.
And of course, because that's what this material does. Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I know. We haven't even talked about that yet. Yeah, I know.
Wow. And here, because you also shifted your beliefs in money, you could pass that on to her as well. So this is so freaking fun, because imagine where she'll be at 30. And here's the thing, like money grows on trees, Dad. Look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no limit.
My dad is actually starting to adopt some new beliefs.
How cool.
And he has told me, my dad's 76 and looking at, kind of back on life. And we were talking one day and, I'm telling him more about this. And because at the start I did keep it really quiet, right? I didn't talk to him about this because I was just trying to work it through and implant my new beliefs. And I didn't want any outside noise or anyone trying to convince me otherwise. So more recently, now though, we talk about it. And he said, the one thing I wish I would have done was take more risks financially.
Mic drop.
Yeah. 76-year-old man. Perfect. Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
How cool. I have shivers thinking about Madison's life and I always say this about Elle, because of the choices I made to study this material, Eloise will never wonder where the money is. She knows. it's infinite. She knows how to attract it to herself.
Oh yeah.
Madison's learned the same thing. You can never take that away from her. How freaking good is that? And see, it's not that money is everything, but here's the truth is that life is a hell of a lot more fun when you have it. And she can literally be doing and have anything because it's there at her fingertips. Even if she doesn't want it, she can give it away.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, we don't need the money to be doing have anything, and it makes it easier.
Yes, certainly.
More fun, right?
Fun.
So,
yeah.
And why not? If it's available to us in infinite supply, why not magnetize it to us? I love this. I love this. Does she know anyone else that's a millionaire at 24, you said? At her age?
One person who has been a big mentor for her.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is one of my good friend's daughters. She's 30 now, but when she was 24, yes.
Yeah, that's so good. I was going to say that that's huge. The peer-to-peer mentorship, of course, she's got you. And you never want, like, have her promise you that she doesn't ever stop studying.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud. That's so good.
I know. And when you said that about Elle too, like it reminds me, I can't tell you the amount of messages I've received from Madison. Like, she doesn't live at home anymore. So, where it's like, yes, look at this happen, universe on my side. Or she'll say, Jesus took the wheel, so it's amazing. Like, it's just this deep, deep belief that truly, like, they're partners, or she and the universe, they are partners, and there's nothing she can't do.
Well, I think that's a good way to leave this call.
Yeah.
So the question to everybody listening, and there's no right or wrong, it's just to check in. Do you believe that you and the universe are partners? If not, call us. Let us help you understand that. Like, no kidding. Send us a message, because let us help you. Because that's the truth. You are a co-creator. There's like nothing that's not possible. And when you understand and you walk in that knowing of yourself, you are limitless. And I keep saying this right now, in our community, that's the ultimate self-image, is the understanding of your truth. There we go, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Do you have anything to add? If you have one thing to say to our audience to leave them with an impression of increase, what would that be today?
I think for me, my biggest lesson from you, Danielle, and Bob, is truly thoughts become things. And if you can really adopt that belief and truly understand it, it will change your entire life. So
simple, and yet so misunderstood.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I've missed you in my one-on-one world.
I know.
Thank you, everyone, for listening here. If this resonated with you, and it's kind of like you're a fly on the wall in our conversation, send us a message. Reach out to Kelly. Perhaps ask her about Madison, her daughter. We can even put Madison's links in here. That would probably be good for people. Why don't we do that? And Kelly's got some upcoming programs. We'll put the links for those in the show notes as well. And follow us and send us, your ahas, your questions, tag us. And I request that you give this podcast episode a review. Give us a 5-star review if that's what's resonating with you, and help us share this work. The true pandemic is really the fear that's going on right now in the world, and the lack and limitation that people are stuck in. Let's cure them of that. And we know how to do that through this work. So thank you, and expect abundance.